There's gonna be a really big jump in quality from my audio, and I'm really sorry about that, but I just had to include this really cute fan art that I got from Danny. I don't know if they deleted their Instagram account because I couldn't find it, but here's the art. Isn't it so cute? They drew my persona Leafy Starberry. Leafy is actually a he or they, not a she, but that is totally okay because I don't blame anyone for misgendering my character when they don't know. But yeah, look at it, look at it, look at it, look at it. It's so freaking cute. Ah! Thank you so much for the fan art, and if you guys ever have any fan art you want to send me, I will be linking my Instagram in the description below so you can. Okay, thank you all. Bye! I'm so tired of making negative videos, so here's a positive one for this week. Hello, Repony! So, I grew up in that weird transitional period between the 90s and the 2000s where they just kind of merged into each other. Like, for example, I grew up on the original Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory, and stuff like that, but I also grew up on Adventure Time, Steven Universe, and Regular Show. I feel like I'm very well-rounded in the animations I watched growing up, personally, and it all contributed to my art journey. But when was the exact moment I realized I loved art, and how did that moment define me? Well, obviously, the exact minute, hour, and day is lost to time, but I can tell you what I do remember. It might take me a minute to get to that point, so I'm sorry about that, but you're watching an art YouTuber, so you kinda have to deal with the ramblings. Anyways, I grew up in a very small town in the middle of nowhere with a very small amount of people in my life. I was homeschooled, had like one friend who was my cousin, and was very mentally ill but undiagnosed. I think it's safe to say I was extremely lonely and secluded from most of society in real life. Because of that, I fell deeply in love with reading and watching shows on our shoddy cable TV box we had back then. When my grandma wasn't watching Jeopardy, I was watching Boomerang, which, if you don't know, was an old channel that would rerun even older cartoons, or if I was lucky, newer cartoons on Cartoon Network. I would just sit and read and occasionally look up to stare at the screen and the animations that were on it. I used reading and animation as an escape from the woods I was surrounded by. Eventually, I stopped reading as much and exclusively watched animation. Now, I have a really bad memory due to trauma, but I think I remember the exact thought I had that one day that changed my entire life. I was watching either a rerun of Hi Hi Puffy Amiyumi or Ed and Eddy. I can't remember which one. It was dark, so I'm assuming it was nighttime or at least later in the day, and I was in my bedroom sitting on the floor. I was just watching, staring, and I guess studying the animation style, and I had this thought, this random thought that completely changed the trajectory of my life. Can I make something like that? Now, before this, I had dabbled in art like most kids, doodling with crayons and stuff like that, but this moment, this simple passing thought, switched something in my brain. After that, my thoughts changed even more as I kept consuming media I cared a lot about. I want to make something. I fixated on art styles more and more, mentally studying how the characters looked and the shapes and the colors and stuff like that. And after a while, and when I couldn't take it anymore, my thoughts turned to, I need to make something. I had finally fallen helplessly and totally in love with art. And not even just one form of it. I started making stop-motion animations of my Barbie dolls to the openings of shows I liked, and tried my best to make the movements look somewhat natural. I wasn't the best at it, but I was young, so whatever. I started pretending I was a YouTuber, recording nonsensical art rantings to my shoddy old laptop. I have a few of those, but I'm not gonna show any of them because, again, I was mentally ill and I made music videos of Vocaloid songs and forced the few people in my life that I had to be in them. I wrote poetry on a really old website called allpoetry.com that in hindsight was very cringy but very freeing. And I wrote stories on Wattpad that were also pretty cringy but made me happy. I was fully involved in all the types of art forms I could get my grubby little baby hands on. I was collecting hobbies and interests like Pokemon at that point. But like a lot of people, over the years, I lost a lot of steam in my art journey, which I think is normal, but I don't think it should be. I know this is stereotypical, but I blame the internet. At some point, I traded creating things I cared about with consuming things I cared about because because it was just easier. It was easier and less scary to watch or read things that other people made than to make things for other people to watch or read. Lately though, I've been trying a lot harder to get back in touch with my older hobbies because I never truly stopped loving them. I'm writing OC lore now, I'm stepping slowly back into animation again, and I honestly feel like I'm finding parts of myself that have been missing. And it's just so crazy for me to think about that one moment in time, that one random thought all those years ago, led me not only to this channel, but to all of you. I might sound a little emotional in this video, and that's simply because I'm kind of a crybaby. As I'm writing the script, I'm actually crying quite a bit, and even now, recording, like as I'm saying this line, I'm crying a little bit. It feels kind of nice though. Talking about the beginning of my art journey has brought up these intense feelings that my younger self had for art, and it's pretty bittersweet. I wish I still had the passion and drive that I did back then, but at the same time, I just keep imagining what my little self's face would have looked like after hearing about how many people have seen our art. I honestly don't think he would believe me if I told him. Art just means so much to both of us, and I'd really like to think that I'm making him proud. Like a lot of people, I have a lot of days where I feel like I'm failing my older self, but writing the script has kind of put me in the headspace of him again, and I really would like to think that he'd be proud of me. I am nowhere near where I want to be in my art journey, and I don't know if I ever will be, but just looking back and seeing how far I've come, it really makes it all worth it. So, yeah. Ignore any random sobs or teary-eyed sounding lines. I'm sorry I'm such a baby. Thank you all so much for going down memory lane with me, and I really appreciate it. It feels a little weird asking for this after all of this, but this is what the YouTube gods demand, so please like and subscribe if you liked the video and want to subscribe. And if you have any other art-related things you want me to talk about in the future, comment down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!